John chapter 18 turns now toward the cross. And so we're going to move from the teachings of Jesus and to his disciples in chapters 13 through 17 to now the events that lead up to his crucifixion. So we're going to see here he's praying, he crosses over, he enters into a grove of olive trees, and then Judas ends up coming. He's coming with the temple guards, Roman soldiers, and they come to arrest Jesus and to put him on trial. And so they said, Jesus said, "Who are you looking for?" They said, "Jesus the Nazarene." Interesting. Look at this. We'll come back to this theme of who Jesus is, and it says, "I am He." And notice the "I am" is capitalized. So it's the same "I am" that we saw earlier in John when Jesus was referring to himself as being the same as Yahweh, the God of the Old Testament. And so we see that we're going to see more about who Jesus is in this chapter. It says in verse 11, Jesus said to Peter, Peter wanted to fight. And Jesus said, "Put your sword back. Shall I not drink from the cup of suffering the Father has given me?" So it seems that Peter still doesn't fully understand what Jesus is there for, and that he's not a revolutionary, which is what they're going to put him on trial for. But he came for a different purpose. So he goes to the high priest's house. You can read that. Peter denies him for the first time. You see in verse 17, the woman asked Peter, "You're not one of that man's disciples, are you?" And he said, "No, I'm not." Remember, Jesus told Peter that he would deny him 3 times. So there's the first time. And then as you read on, the high priest, the Jewish high priest, questions Jesus some more. You're going to see Peter's second and third denials. And after he denied Jesus for the 3rd time, verse 27, it said a rooster crowed, which again is what Jesus said was going to happen. Now look in verse 28. We get back to his trial before Pilate. Now Pilate is one of the Roman rulers, and so we've got 2 groups here. We've got the Jewish leaders and the high priest, like Caiaphas was a high priest, and then we've got the Roman guy. So Jesus' trial before Caiaphas, the high priest, ended early in the morning, and then he was taken to the headquarters of the Roman governor Pilate. And his accusers didn't go inside because it was a Passover, and that would have defiled them to be in there with those Gentiles. Okay, so we're going to see now it shifts over to Pilate. So Pilate called for Jesus to be brought back to him, and he says, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus said, again, look at this question of who is Jesus. Now Pilate is asking it, and Jesus asks him in return, "Is this your own question, or did others tell you about me?" And so Jesus ends up answering in verse 36, "My kingdom is not an earthly kingdom. If it were, my followers would fight to keep me from being handed over to the Jewish leaders, but my kingdom is not of this world." And so we see that Jesus is beginning to reveal, even to Pilate, anyone who would listen, he's revealing what his purpose is there. And they still don't understand what his purpose is. But we're going to see here in a few minutes, or in a few chapters, that his purpose is to go to the cross and to die there for the sins of the world, to bring light to the darkness, which is the theme of the whole book of John. And so we see that. You can read now the rest of John chapter 18, read it on your own a couple of times. It's a great lead into the next chapters where we're going to see Jesus and him going to the cross and dying for the sins of the world.